Designing a garden is actually pretty easy. There's a lot of information available about lines and texture and balance and all of the components that play into garden design. But before we get to that, I think there is another very important factor. And whenever I've been asked to consult with gardeners that are building their gardens, the first thing I ask them is why? Why do you want a garden? How are you going to use it? What benefits do you think you're seeking to gain from gardening? These questions combine into what I call the vision of your design. And that's what I'll be discussing today. Hi, I'm Gardener Scott, and I'm out standing in my field. And all joking aside, that's literally what I'm doing and what I recommend to anyone that's trying to design a garden. It's to stand in the space where they're hoping to garden. Now, for the last week or so, I've been observing nature, my own patterns, as I begin the process of putting my ideas into a plan, into a garden design. And I've asked myself the same question that I ask others who are seeking to design a special garden. And that's the why. Well, I love it. I love taking a bare space and coming up with that design and then building it and then turning it into an amazing space. There's no magic answer for the why because it's different for every gardener. Some gardeners might want to garden solely for the purpose of food and to relieve some of the financial burden on their budget. And I like getting the food, but that's not my primary reason. There are others that might be choosing to design a garden because they want to live off the grid and basically get back from nature what they put into the ground. I like that too. That's not my primary reason. For others, it might be purely financial, looking for a profit with an urban farm and growing produce to sell at a farmer's market. And I'll probably do some of that too. All of those pieces play into my why a little bit. But the ultimate why for me is just the sheer enjoyment of doing it. In my experience, most gardens fail because the gardener hasn't clearly defined that why, that portion of the vision of the garden well enough. And sometimes they get in over their heads and the whole thing falls apart. And I can be guilty of that as well. When I say that my primary reason, my primary vision for this space is to just have the enjoyment of doing it, well, that's not enough. That isn't a clear objective. What I really mean is that I like learning more about gardening. I like experimenting. I like trying new things. And a space like this, the designing and the building, gives me that opportunity. But even that isn't enough of a clear vision. You're probably familiar with the concept of mission statements and vision statements, and you may have done some yourself with an organization you're affiliated with. It's kind of the same idea in the garden. The mission statement is what you tell others when they ask what you're doing or why you garden. And it might be because I want to show others through my videos how to build a garden. Or it might be I want to grow that food to give to my family. But the vision statement is only for yourself. It's not what you publicize. It's your own dream. It's your aspirational reasons for gardening. And really, for me, when I say I like doing it, what that really means is I love walking into my garden and soaking in everything that I've accomplished, because I can look at a bed or a plant. I can look at every component of that gardening space, and I know that I did it myself. And I can sit and enjoy every second of the experience. So as I've further refined this idea of vision for myself, I realize it's enjoyment of the space that's important. And what is it that I enjoy? Well, I enjoy so many aspects of gardening that my space will include a lot of different components in the ultimate design. I'll need that bench to sit on and just soak in the space. And I need an herb garden with all of those wonderful aromas. Maybe even a rose garden. I'll have the greenhouse so I can experiment with different plants. I have all of those different pieces thrown into this space. And as I look at myself and what makes gardening enjoyable for me, that's what I'll write down and start putting into my plan, start putting into the design. I need to identify next what I like and what I want in my garden. So what's your dream for the space? Why have you started the process of garden design? For me, it's a big space, but it could be just a pot on a patio or a small bed in the backyard. Ultimately, there's a reason, an internal reason, and a dream that you have for wanting to do that. It doesn't have to be grandiose like mine. It can be quite simple. But you need to figure out what your dream is for the short term and the long term, because this whole gardening thing really has its ups and downs. And you need to think more than just this season. Look to next season and look beyond in defining your vision. It might help to think of this process like a jigsaw puzzle. Each of these components that I'll be discussing in the weeks ahead is a puzzle piece that fits with all of the other pieces to make the picture on the puzzle box. And that picture is what our vision says it will be, the reason for putting those pieces together. When I was much younger, my brother, who was also younger, loved doing jigsaw puzzles. And he got so good at them that for a challenge, he would turn the pieces upside down. So all he saw was the gray back of the pieces. And then he had to struggle to find which piece fit with another piece, just through trial and error and a little bit of observation to make it all come together. And too often, that's how many of us garden, where we take a piece that's just a gray back, it means nothing, and then try to fit it in with another piece and hope that the garden turns out to be a beautiful picture when it's all said and done. It's so much easier if we know what that picture is in the beginning. So now I'm sitting in my field with a pretty good idea of what my garden design vision will be. But I'll continue to work on it and massage it and develop my own dream of what that puzzle box picture is going to look like, so that when it's done, I'll be able to step into all of my gardens and enjoy the space and welcome others in to that space to enjoy as well. How about you? Where are you at with your vision? Feel free to share below, because I think all of us have ideas that the rest of us really can benefit from. If you've got any comments or questions beyond that, just let me know below. If you want to see more of the videos in this series or other videos, then subscribe to the Gardener Scott channel if you haven't already done so. And if you like the video, you can give me a thumbs up and share it. I'm Gardener Scott. Enjoy gardening.